Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another interview with me, Adam Winslet. We are live, just waiting for Facebook to tell everybody that we're live. Got a great interview tonight with a world-class drummer. His name's Chuck Sabo. I hope I've pronounced it right. Cool name. He's played with pretty much everybody. Good evening, everybody. I thought I'd turn my phone down, but I never do. Sod's law. Yeah, played with pretty much everybody. Elton John, Tom Jones, Pet Shop Boys, Natalie Imbruglia, Take That. So we got a few people watching, so I think we better start the show, as it were. Trying to get it a bit more professional. I have to put my phone on. I'll show you this because I can't see any comments coming up. If people want to ask Chuck a question, they can, and I can bring it up on screen and he can see it. So let's start the show, and I should do it with a counting, really, shouldn't we?
Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
Hey, wow, you were taking me back there. That was great. I was zoning out.
I would like to say we're live from New York City, where Chuck's from, but he's actually become a UK resident just recently. So, Chuck, what made you come from New York all the way to the UK?
Yeah, it wasn't just recently, I'm afraid. It was it was 1986. I came here on a tour with a band from New York called the Comatines, and we did a couple shows here and then through Europe. But as soon as I saw London at the time, New York, where I lived in East Greenwich Village, was pretty rough. I mean, well, next to me was a burnt out building. Next to that was a burnt out building. And in each of these buildings were crack houses, literally. So when I came here and I saw London and there were cushions on the underground seats, I was like, wow, this place is nice and safe. You can go on the underground. You don't have to turn your rings around or take them off. It's like, and the music business here at that time, half the bands in the American charts were British. So, for the size of Britain and the size of America, that was astonishing. So I thought, no, I'm going to have some of this. And I did. After the tour, I just stayed on at the Columbia Hotel in Lancaster Gate and did a couple of auditions out of the Melody Maker magazine, which you might know it possibly, but not. You've got to be kind of my age. One was for a band managed by Miles Copeland, and another was for a band managed by Mick Rossi, who was with the Flock of Seagulls. Fortunately, I got both jobs. One was in Glasgow, one was in London. I took the job in Glasgow, and I went home for Christmas, and then they flew me back. So I left New York in a place where you get ready to go out about 1 a.m, right? You get ready to go out, and I ended up in Glasgow in this bedroom. I think I slept for 3 days. Every time I opened the curtain, it was still dark, so I just went back to bed. And then when I did start going out, it was like at that time, we're talking late 80s. So the pubs would shut at 11. The TV, I think all the 4 channels, stopped at 11 or 12. So I'm just getting ready to go out. It's like, where you going, Chuck? There's nowhere to go. So I was a little bit mental then. But yeah, it all fell into place.
So did you do a lot of gigs in New York? Because obviously there's a hotbed for live music, isn't it, New York?
Yeah, I did. I played, all the cool local scene, CBGBs. I played several times. In fact, I was close enough to CBGBs to roll my kit down. It was about 3 blocks of rolling. And Max's Kansas City and all those great places that unfortunately are no longer with us. And those are great, and they get you onto the scene, but then you have to get into the recording side of the business and get into that realm with the people who's got major label deals or good decent deals, so then you could get into proper touring. So the New York club scene was great as an introduction and getting your name around, stuff like that. But
what stuff were you playing over there, Chuck? Everything and anything, or just like were you in bands, or were you doing sessions, or?
It was I started, wanting to be in a band, and I was in a band, but the bands, for one reason or another, it didn't work out, and I find myself being called and pulled into doing some session work, and it just kind of went that way. I wanted to be in the next Led Zeppelin. I wanted to be a drummer in a band like that, like any number of bands where everyone in the band's doing well, and basically that's their job, and they could branch off if they want. But no, I was pulled into the session scene, which turned out to be great as well.
So, how did you get into the drums in New York? Were your parents or any of your family into music, and they got you a kit, or was it playing on pots and pans like everyone seems to start?
It's funny, but actually, it was seriously pots and pans. I saw my neighbor friend, his older brother playing the kit, and he let me sit behind it. And from that moment on, something clicked, and that's what I wanted to be. That's what I was going to be. I just knew it. No holds barred. That's what I was going to be. Pots and Pans came out until my mom couldn't stand it. Then it was drum lessons for one Christmas, snare drum for the next. Finally, because I kept up on everything, it was the full kit. But I think I was 6 when I got the Pots and Pans going. So from that age, I kept it going.
So was you from quite a poor background with the houses you say were all burnt out and that where you used to live and it was really rough, or?
Well, that's when I moved to New York.
Oh, right.
I moved there just turning 21. But I was born in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and so it's a whole different world there. But when you're playing in the bars and doing what you can in a place like that, and if you really want to make your life of a drummer or whatever it was in music, you do have to go into the big city. So that's what I did, and I found a nice cheap place next to the burnt out building, in between two. It was the going rate. I had to get it. 6 floor walk up as well.
And but were you from a sort of sleepy, quiet place, and then you obviously went to New York? It must have been a bit of a culture shock if you were living in between burnt out buildings.
Yeah, I guess it was, but I don't know. I was kind of ready for it. Allentown is an hour outside of New York City, so it's not that sleepy. It's also an hour outside of Philly. It's right in the middle. But I've been to New York quite a few times, and some people I was with, they would have a reaction of going through New York and going, "Oh my God, this is a shithole. I could never live here," and I would be, "Oh my God, I can't wait to get here." It's just a different way you look at things. So, no, I was more than ready. The burnt out buildings, they didn't bother me at all. The 6th floor walk up, it didn't bother me. I was 21. Getting robbed, our apartment getting robbed on the 6th floor from the roof, and it had gates on the windows, and somehow getting in from the roof and bending the gates and that didn't bother me either. It's like, whatever, I know what I'm doing.
So when you came to, did you get your sort of big breaks over in New York, or your big breaks when you came to the UK?
I probably did 5 major label albums in New York, and 4 or 5 tours. But then when I came here and started making a name for myself, it was the right time. I was the right drummer, the right age. I started to meet more of the right people, and bigger and bigger names, working with bigger and bigger producers, getting to know the people in the labels. It's all about the networking and the people that you know. So it was, it's just kind of a steady climb through your career, really, if you stick with it.
So did they come to you, or did you come to them, as it were? Were you just sort of sat at home one day and then Elton John calls you up and says, "Come and play on my album"?
You don't have to do anything. You just sit at home and wait. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to play. You don't have to know anybody. You don't have to buy a beer. No. No, it is just one group of people, or a person that you work with knows a group of people that knows another group of people, and so it grows until that someone in that second group is working with Elton, or Brian Eno. It's just, it just goes that way until one day your phone goes, and the answering, whatever it was at that time, answered it, and you hear, and Brian Eno's on the phone asking for you, and you're past the point of going, someone's taking a piss. You think, crap, where'd he get my number? But it's like magic. It's just, it's fantastic. But it is pure, it's unadulterated persistence and work and just continuing.
I don't think people realize how tough it is to get. I've seen people take up an instrument, and it is, to get proficient at it and as good as like you are. I don't think people realize how tough it is, the hours of practice and the groundwork you have to put in. How many hours? And
You've got to love it. Yeah, Adam, you have to love it. You have to want it. Or like with any profession, if you don't love it or want it bad enough, you're not going to get it, and you'll just decide to do something else. So it's not hard work when you love it. You just want to do it.
But there must have been some tough times when, you know, say you're doing gigs. You're not. There must have been times where you weren't earning much money, and you got paid a rent. You're living beside burnt out houses. But there's some tough times.
I don't know what you're talking about. No, never. No, are you kidding? Shoot. Yeah. It's a business of peaks and valleys. You're on a peak and it's just never going to stop, you think. And then all of a sudden, you're in the middle of a valley, rolling in some mud, and you're like, why isn't the phone ringing? I'm going to check my phone. Yeah, it's still working. Okay, who did I piss off? What? But it's just the way it works. Peaks and valleys. It's the session game. But once you know that's the situation and you're patient about it when you're in the valleys, and you use that time to be creative in other ways, the next peak comes before you know it, rather than waiting for it and counting the days and, you know, wondering what the. But yeah, you get used to it.
Was it tough to keep on the straight and narrow at a young age? You know, like with the scene, what was going around, say, in the 80s. You know, it's like the music scene is renowned for its sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You know, and I've seen some pictures of you were younger, and you remind me of the Fonz.
Okay, well, no comment. I think it's the best route with that. What anyone who knows me out there who's knows I have an occasional beer, but yeah, that's it.
But some of the musicians who I've sort of spoke to, you know, obviously that there's been some really great musicians that have, you know, lost their way and stuff because of what was going around. But so that's why I asked the question. But obviously you've come through it, and there's a lot of people that don't. There's people that do. But I'm glad you've come through it. So so when, like you say, when Brian Eno rings you up and says, yeah, you know, I've got a gig for you. What was it like working for? Was it Elton?
It was Brian was the Pet Shop Boys, and Roy Orbison. We did a track on a Roy Orbison platinum disc that he passed away already. His wife was there, and the lyric was very spooky. It was like, you know, I'll be there with you. So we're playing to his lyric, but Brian was just replacing all the music to it. So that was amazing. And of course, working with Brian and having lunch with him and hearing about everything he's doing, from lecturing to being in the art galleries. It's installation in the art gallery. Wow. I mean, those are definite highlights. And musically, of course, the higher you get up in the echelon, the better the players are, the better the studio is, the better the engineer is, and it's all just a joy. And you never, you know, you get to that point where you're working in studios that are £1,000 a day, and then you put on top of that the engineer, the other players, but you never go in there sitting down on your stool thinking about that price, you know. it's just because by that point it's just coming natural. You're hired to do what you do. You know, you're not hired to play like someone else, and it's just it's what you worked for, and it's a joy. It's great.
When you do studio work or live work, do you ever get nervous and you're like, or does it bring the best out of you if you get a bit nervous?
No, I don't. I don't get nervous. I get excited. Yeah, there's nothing better. It's like seeing that clip you played with Natalie at that huge show in London. And what I love best about those shows is that during sound check, you could really tell. But you hit your bass drum and it just boom, like all the way out to 2 blocks away. You know, people are feeling that in their gut every time you're touching your bass drum pedal. And that's just a buzz. It's like it comes naturally to get it right. But knowing that there's that kind of power behind it and emotion is just, you can't beat that. Yeah, I love it.
I've had a question come up from somebody, so I'm going to put it up on screen, Chuck. Hopefully you'll see it.
Good question, Russ.
Russ is a drummer himself, great drummer. He does a lot of work around this area, so I had to bring that up. Hi, Russ. Thanks for watching.
Yes, thanks for the question. I think. Well, yeah. Okay. So I heard about these tantrums, obviously, before working with him, and we were doing The Lion King and at the townhouse, and he was also organizing duets for one album that he was doing at the same time. So he was dealing with other artists, you know, and artist schedules can be difficult at the best of times, and he's trying to deal with this. So anyway, it wasn't going well, and he just decided, I'm going to sing. So he went into the control room, into the live room, picked up the headphones, ready to sing, and nobody was ready for it. The engineer hadn't set up for it. Nobody's ready to, but the producer, Chris Thomas, just said, go. He wants to sing. Let's go. So obviously he wasn't going to get the right sounds and everything. It wasn't prepared, and he didn't. And he whipped off the headphones and he just said, I'm out of here. He said a few things, but let's stick with that one. He said, I'm out of here. And I must admit, Russ, at that point, I felt bad for him because there we are in Shepherd's Bush. Now, if I was pissed off, I'd go out the door, go to the pub or whatever, and that's the end of it. Cool down. But he's like pissed off. Where's my driver? He can't go anywhere because his driver's not there. So he's got to be Steve. He's all pissed off. Finally, his driver arrives, and he gets to go out, get some air. And myself and the bass player, Phil Spaulding, we were looking at each other, seeing the invoices for this record flying out the window. And until the guy that looks after his gear came into the control room and said to the producer, so I guess I should pack something away so that when he comes back, I can unpack it. And I said, oh, this happens a lot then. You're used to this. So, that's, yeah, I got to see that, and it wasn't too bad. So it was kind of enjoyable in the end.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, it's like everybody, I suppose, has a bad day, don't they?
Exactly. But like I said, you and I have a bad day. We could just, put her outside and come back in 10 minutes. But yeah, I guess it's a bit more for someone like that. Well, I know it is.
We touched on it earlier. I'm not sure about your mic. It sounds like he's tapping on something, Chuck, that's dangling down.
Oh,
is it dangling down? No.
No, the mic's.
Yeah, cool. That's right then. That's cool. I could just hear a little tap, but that's no problem. Yeah, we touched on it earlier. You said about, you know, being in a band and wanting to like being a band like Led Zeppelin. Was he one of your sort of hero drummers, John Bonham?
Absolutely. Growing up and playing and practicing to CDs, it was always Zeppelin and Steve Gadd, another one of my heroes. And also in cover bands, which you have to pretty much go through at in places like Allentown. Yeah, it was Zeppelin, well, even Genesis to a certain degree, but John Bonham and Steve Gadd are my boys.
Why were they your boys?
Well, the playing was just so right for every song they played, and the sound was also mesmerizing. Just another drummer, Steve White. I believe it was Steve White from Earth, Wind and Fire. So yeah, these players just played the right groove, the right fills for the songs, and that always got me going.
I've been lucky enough, for people that are watching, I literally met Chuck, 6 years ago. Marlborough Jazz Festival we were doing, and for some reason, I can't remember the reason, but the drummer couldn't make it. Something went pear-shaped. And so I emailed Chuck. I just Googled world-class drummers, and Chuck came up, and Chuck came and done a gig with us at the Marlborough Jazz Festival, just walked into the gig. And why I've brought this up because Tim's watching, Tim Walters, guitarist. Hi, Tim. He done an amazing guitar solo when you played that.
He did. Yeah, that was big time.
But I watched it back, and I was trying to upload it to play it tonight, but I watched it back. Tim's guitar solo, what was really nice about it was you were just laying this groove down underneath and not going mad, like playing louder because he's doing a guitar solo. You just sat this like groove down underneath, and it was perfect.
Thank you, Adam. It's very nice of you to say that. I enjoyed that gig a lot. I enjoyed all the gigs with you. We did 3, I believe. Yeah. You have to check out Adam Winslet. I tell you, yeah.
But that does that take a? Is it a personality thing that makes you how can I put it? Not play too much. Because, you know, you see people on the internet now like doing these videos, double bass drums and going absolutely crazy, yet in the real world of music it's not really needed.
Yeah, well, there are certain genres of music where that's required, but for what I love, groove and pocket are just the best. I'm never happier that I'm sitting in a pocket. The fills are just a way of getting you to the next section, but they have to also be as groovy and in the pocket. And yeah, I'm just all about pocket. I'll sit there for hours in the pocket. Thank you very much. You do your solos.
But like I say, it was I literally watched it back today, and it's almost like simplicity is a wonderful thing. It
is, absolutely.
It's almost what you left out, which was what made it great.
There you go. Yes, it's what you leave out. It's equally as important, if not more. In fact, more with a lot of players than what you put in. Absolutely good, well called.
So I've got one of my favourite drummers. I've got to say it for me. I don't know what it is, but perhaps it's just his character as well. I love Mr. Purdy. What about yourself?
Oh yeah, of course. Great shuffles. Yeah. There are so many that I admire and borrow little things from. But you kind of have to have your couple of top favorites when someone asks. You can't pull out this list. Okay,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Purdy, and a great character with it, full of confidence. Confidence is key as well.
I'm just talking of like drummers and stuff. I'm just going to bring this up. Hopefully, you'll see it. The sort of people you sort of hang around with.
Oh my word! Oh, one of the scariest nights. Yeah, you asked me earlier about being, if I ever got nervous. Well, in a band is one thing. Being in the back, playing the drums and knowing the song is one thing, but pushed up to the front of a stage for your first ever clinic at the Forum, sold out, 2,000 people. That was nerve-wracking. That was, I was petrified. I was petrified. That is just so out of character for a drummer who likes pocket, But yeah, so I was endorsed by Yamaha and Zildjian, and they said, "Come and do this clinic." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, come and do this clinic." And then as the days rolled up, and I'm seeing the other drummers involved, and what I actually had to do, they said, "Yeah, it's just 20 minutes. You just have 20 minutes." And as I'm practicing towards this event, 20 minutes was a long fleeting time, I'll tell you. Oh my God, for someone who doesn't like to play solos. So I try to incorporate playing to loops and playing groove drumming, but you always feel like you have to be, you have to do chops and stuff. Oh my God, when it was over, I ran off the stage. I couldn't have a beer quick enough, and then I got to watch the rest of the night, knowing that I had done it. It was fantastic.
For people that are watching that are like not drummers or musicians, a clinic is just like literally where you go and sit up on stage on your own. So you're obviously pretty bare, just a drummer on their own.
That's it. It's called the drum clinic. Because clinic is meant to be teaching. You're meant to be teaching something, but yes,
it's literally, it's for people that watch. It's literally right. Like, sit in a room and give us all you got, but there's 2,000 people watching you.
Yeah, most drummers, drummers, and all critics, and they're all critics.
Yeah, and they all can do it better, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, it's easier from the seat. It's much easier from the seat in the audience. I know that.
What makes an individual drummer their own sort of thing or their own style, Chuck, for you?
Where they place their kick and snare, it's a natural timing, and we're talking milliseconds of, is it before, is it on top, is it after the actual beat, and that makes the drummers feel. That makes his style, his feel, and then how he approaches a song would make his style, how much how he approaches his fills into the next section. It's pretty much his placement of the kick and snare and use of fills, I think, simply.
And is it your personality, I suppose, comes out in your drumming as well? Like
just cool and easy.
Yeah.
He told me to say that.
So what would you say? So you're a kid growing up nowadays. What would you say to them about trying to get into the music business or playing drums? Or because when you say done your recordings and stuff, did you got credits on the albums, and then do you get royalties? Whereas now it's just like, I was listening to the radio today, and it's, there's a court case or something going on in the High Court with obviously iTunes, Spotify, because musicians now are just, it's almost impossible to make money unless they're touring.
It could be more different than when I was doing most of my major label recordings. It couldn't be more different. There was always credit. There was always credit involved. There was forms that needed to be signed, BPI forms for your session work, and that later, eventually, not always. It happened late 80s, early 90s, when PPL evolved and started collecting royalties, performance royalties, on behalf of session players. And that was a game changer. Credit became ever important because it's actually something that, we spoke about peaks and valleys, and it's something that can carry you through your valleys when you're getting performance royalties for records you've played on that are being played in gyms, radio, shops, whatever. It's amazing. But then we roll ahead to where we are now, which is streaming and lots of online sessions where credits don't play a role at all. Therefore, there will be no performance royalties. And a little tougher to get your name around as well, obviously. So it's like night and day. But back to your original question about kids today, what I suggest, that has never changed. Basically, if you want it, and if you want something bad enough, you have to be very thick-skinned, and you have to stick to it. You have to love it. You have to want it, and that's it. Basically, you can't give up. Once you put your mind to something, you can't give up. All you can do is quit. If you don't quit, it will be there. You just have to persevere. That's my offering to the new player.
Work hard, play hard.
Yeah.
Not too hard.
Yeah. Okay, next time I'm going to interview Adam, and then we're going to talk about his playing hard. Okay.
I've got another question that someone's asked. Another friend of mine, so I better put it up, otherwise they'll kill me. It's quite hard, people, because I'm sort of doing an editing thing at the same time, if that makes sense. But anyway, here it comes.
Hi, Philip.
Who was his favourite band to play with?
Well, Adam Winslet, of course. I mean, come on. You can't put me on that pressure.
You're too nice, Chuck.
Okay. I'm going to say Shakespeare's Sister. That was my favorite yeah, for a lot of reasons, but certainly not least the playing side, and and seeing it grow, because before Stay they were relatively unknown, as in selling seats out. But then as Stay took off, the band took off, and the tours took off, and then we ended up headlining Glastonbury. It was just enormous. I really enjoyed that, and I learned something from doing those big stages as well, which is to purposely, when you go on stage, purposely slow time down. Otherwise, you go on to Glastonbury. Well, first of all, you traveled hours to get there. You waited hours. You're going to travel hours afterwards. It's all wait, travel, wait, travel. You're finally on the stage doing what you love doing. And if you're not cautious, bang, it goes by in a second. It's like, what happened? But I noticed if I make myself slow down while I'm up there and enjoy everything, the people, the grass, everything, it just goes on longer, and it's great. It's like, yes, I was up there the whole time, and I use that every time. I love it.
Was that before Bananarama? Was it?
No, Bananarama was much earlier.
Yeah, and then
Siobhan.
Yeah,
Siobhan was a part of that, and then she went on to create Shakespeare's Sister. And they did one album, and then Marcelo Detroit came in for the second album. Meanwhile, I think Bananarama still were doing things around, but by that point, the Siobhan was in this. And then after Shakespeare's Sister dissolved, I think there was some things that happened with Bananarama, but I'm not sure.
So was it the Pyramid you played, the Pyramid stage at Glastonbury?
Yeah. The main stage.
Yeah.
Headline. Baby Cakes. That is serious.
And no nerves whatsoever.
Oh, no, you're kidding. I was passing it on to the band and saying, slow it down when you're up there. Just take it in, breathe it in. It's like, this is amazing. Breathe it in.
I'm just coming to the conclusion you're not actually a bad drummer, Chuck. You're quite good.
Oh, nice one. I'm just coming to the conclusion this is over.
No, because obviously it's like I'm joking.
What was that about? Yeah.
I'm joking. Why I say that, because it's like, obviously I've met you a few times and we have had a chat and stuff, but you've never sort of said, oh, by the way, I've played the Pyramid stage at Glastonbury. You've kept it under your hat, whereas most probably a lot of people, that's one of them, well, I'd just love to play at Glastonbury or do something at Glastonbury, even sing in the field in the mud,
I did that too.
But
people have said that to me on a few occasions about, it took me years to find out you did this, you did that, you did the other. What do? You walk up you're just your person. You want people to know you as you, and then later I'll find out about you and you'll find out about me. It's just, I don't know.
So that was that. Have you been to Glastonbury since, Chuck, or that was sort of the
I had, yeah. I played there with David Holmes in free association after that, I think that would have been the last time, David Holmes.
So nowadays, Chuck, are you more sort of in the studio, doing sessions and doing the live thing?
I am very much. This is it. This is my place. I'm in it. 5 days a week, and I'm either writing, doing sessions, and I must admit, mainly online sessions, or mixing. I do a lot of mixing here as well.
Obviously, what's gone on with the world, it's been a saviour that you've, still been able to work. You know,
Yeah.
the entertainment business obviously is on its knees. Musicians, you know, it's really tough out there for everybody. But
I'm very grateful, and Coco, my girl Coco, has, you know, been with me and supported me and helped me with the studio and you know, lets me hang out here all day. I feel very fortunate about it all. But, you know, not least, it is tough times out there, and all the players who are counting on live work, it's devastating. Well, I can't even fathom it, really. It's terrible.
so you've been writing some stuff yourself, doing your own music and that.
Yes, I have. I had a couple, you know, a yearning to do it, and I just kind of did it. I did the first few songs that I put out just here, you know, not really wanting to bother anyone. So I played bass, I played the guitars, I did what I could do, and then for the more refined guitars, I sent it off to Neil Taylor for his help. And yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I'm liking pretty much what I've done. But I really like what I've just done, which will be next.
Yeah, I think it's had about 35,000 views on Facebook, or not Facebook, on YouTube.
Yeah, not that. I'm not talking about that one though. But that's
right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, the new one.
Let's have a look. We'll have a quick play of what Chuck's been up to.
Thanks.
Train, standing in third class, told to listen to the people who are driving. We're on a lockdown train, all grown a bit insane, told to listen to the people who are lying. Lockdown train, going past the town we work, seeing all the people suffering and dying. It's the truth, and you know it. There's no truth behind their words, and the rich are gonna be alright. And you feel it, that these are crazy times, and life
Oh, so I have to shout out because that one was the music to that one was written by a great and old friend of mine, John Innes, and then Kenny Dickinson did the keyboards and Neil Taylor the guitar. So yes, that's John's music, and I did the melody and the vocals on that one. So that's the latest, but that's not the newest.
That's it's quite scary, you know, the faces. Who came up with the idea of the like masks and you know the?
Oh, that would be that's Bart, the videographer who did it. Yeah.
So if there was any children, if there's any children watching and we scared you, we're sorry because it's not gone 9 o'clock.
Well, think of it as Halloween. It's like Halloween.
So so did you write the lyrics to that? Or
yeah.
Oh, you done the lyrics as well, Chuck?
Yeah, vocal melody and the lyrics.
Yeah.
On that baby.
And what's that on Rhine? Is your YouTube Rhinoceros Music? Is it?
Yeah, it's a Australian company. David Nicholas was the engineer with the producer Chris Thomas, the legend Chris Thomas, who produced Elton, Pretenders, Sex Pistols, Pink Floyd. Well, he was with them for like 30 years. Well, when they shut down shop, he went back to Australia and started up this label. So yeah, he heard what I was doing and said, "Yeah, let me put this out for you." So there you go, Rhinoceros Music, Australia, with American British drummer person. Me.
They're very because there's a song you've done as well called "The Politician," which is really interesting. It's unusual. I don't know how to put it. Music's music. It's like unusual. But the message is really interesting.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you think so. Yeah.
So if you want to watch Chuck, go on YouTube and Google "The Politician," and yeah, it's good, great video as well.
It's kind of fitting for what's going on now, isn't it?
It's totally fitting, yeah. What's going on in the world?
That video was done by Always Entertainment in Florida. You know, you talk about credits. You have to give credit where credit is due.
I've got to bring this. Question up because there was one part of the interview where I was nearly because it's popped up on the screen because he's a bit of a character. This guy. Phil Hutchins. Hi, Chuck. Have you ever dived into your kit on stage? Oh, dear. You always get one.
Philip, I've thought about it, but it never went past the thought. I just left it at that. So, no, I haven't. I kind of wish I would. Kind of wish I would like to say yeah, but no, I haven't. I wasn't in a big rowdy band like that, you know. But okay, next.
Yeah, I'll just bring that picture up. There you are, Chuck. The Zildjian.
Oh yeah,
Day.
I'm obviously happy there because it's after the show, after the drum clinic at the Forum. Yeah, look at some great drummers there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the comedian's name that
Rowan Atkinson. No,
not Rowan.
That's the guy. Sorry. I'm sorry, no. Rowan. I'm sorry. It is Rowan. It is Rowan.
Roland. Is it Roland?
It's Roland. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought I knew it. I jumped in there. No, it's Roland something. He's also a drummer.
Yeah, that's it. So Chuck, we've been on nearly an hour, so I'd just like to thank you so much for your time and telling us some great stories.
Oh, great job, Adam. Thanks for having me.
No, it's with lockdown and everybody at home. I'm sure that people will watch it afterwards as well, and have some laughs, hopefully. But on a leaving note, what would you say? What makes a good drummer? What makes a great drummer?
Knowing how to.
There's a drum kit behind. You could show us if you want.
Oh, I can't, because a great drummer is knowing how to play to a song without stepping on it and staying out of the melody, and knowing dynamics. So, I could show you how to go boom, boom, bash, boosh, deesh, dash, booka, dash, douche, but that's not a great drummer. That's just me going boosh, boosh, bash, douche, deeka, dash, boosh. So I won't embarrass you, me, or the audience.
So basically, is listening to everybody, and
yes. A great drummer is a great listener. Yeah, in fact, that's good. Well put.
And obviously, another thing with which makes a great drummer is having a great bass player.
Yeah, that goes hand in hand.
Vice versa.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand. Yeah.
Well, Chuck, it's been lovely speaking to you, and thanks for coming on and sharing parts of your life with us, and it's still going. Hopefully,
yeah, it was a pleasure. I enjoyed that, Adam. Thanks.
Hopefully, we get out gigging and do some live gigs next year.
Yeah, that would be nice. Get back to normal.
I'm just gonna. No, that's it. That's it. Roland Rivron. That's it.
Oh, well done, Tim.
Well
Thanks.
done, Tim.
That's it. Yeah, he was a really nice guy too. He's a good drummer. Yeah, well, everyone, stay safe out there.
Eva.
Yeah, you're welcome, Eva. And yeah, look after yourselves and each other.
Cool. Cheers, Chuck. Thank you so much for coming on, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. And I'll be in touch, no doubt, hopefully.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good, Adam.
I'll count us out of the show.
Okay.
Cheers, Chuck. Well, there you go, Chuck Sabo, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. He's such a lovely guy, great drummer. I was lucky enough to share the stage with him, and just a really nice guy. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and follow artsforhungerford.com. We put on live music events when we can do them. We're all volunteers. I'll put that up on the old let's put a banner up. Arts for Hungerford. And obviously Chuck Sabo, you can check him out. That's it. So everyone be safe, and hopefully music will be getting back to some sort of normality next year. Please support live musicians, because it certainly makes my world turn, music. I don't know where I'd be without it. Just listening to it, obviously, and I do a bit of singing too. But yeah, all the best, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.